Washington orchards are full of all your favorite varieties. You recognize the Gala, Crisp Pink, Honeycrisp, and of course, Red Delicious. But where did they all come from? About 2,500 known varieties of apples are grown in the United States. More than 7,500 are grown worldwide. America's love of apples stretches all the way back to our nation's earliest days. The first actual American cultivated apple variety was apparently grown by Reverend William Blackstone in Rhode Island in the 1630s. He called it Blackstone's Yellow Sweeting. As more people grew apples, these trees cross-pollinated each other, forming new types or varieties. In 1870, a farmer named Jesse Hyatt found an odd seedling growing on his farm in Iowa. No matter how hard he tried to cut it down, the seedling kept growing back. This determined little apple eventually became the Red Delicious variety, and it became the most popular variety in America. Meanwhile, the Granny Smith apple was discovered as a seedling in Australia in the late 1860s. It made its way to America, and Washington farmers began growing it commercially in the 1960s. In the early 1900s, another seedling was found on a farm in West Virginia, and it became known as the Golden Delicious. In the early 1930s, another Australian, J.H. Kidd, crossed the Golden Delicious with Kidd's Orange Red and created the Gala variety. Today, Galas are the most popular variety grown in Washington. Also in the 1930s, researchers in Fujisaki, Japan, created the Fuji apple by crossing the Red Delicious with the Virginia Rawls Janet varieties. The Fuji made its way to the U.S. in the 1960s. One of today's most beloved varieties, Honeycrisp, was developed in the 1960s. It was developed at the University of Minnesota, and it took 30 years for this variety to be available for commercial production in the 1990s. Crisp Pink is another variety that recently became popular among consumers. It was developed in Australia in the 1970s. This variety made its way to Washington orchards in the late 1990s and is also known as Pink Lady. The newest variety to be widely planted in Washington State is the Cosmic Crisp. This variety was developed by Washington State University and is a cross between the Honeycrisp and Enterprise. Its deep red color, firm, crisp texture, and juicy, sweet tart flavor make it an exceptional eating apple. It also stores well, so apple lovers should be able to enjoy it year-round. Cosmic Crisp will be grown exclusively in Washington for the first decade of its life, so trade and consumers alike can look to our beautiful state to try this new apple that's out of this world. Today, there are dozens of varieties grown in Washington orchards, both public and proprietary apples, to keep consumers happy. With the new Cosmic Crisp apple plantings now in orchards throughout the state, we are sure to continue to please mouths around the world with Washington apples.